You've come here not just to listen, but to understand something deep within yourself. What we're exploring today isn't just psychology, it's about the journey of your soul, the hidden story of what happens when you've carried someone else's darkness and somehow survived. Many people think survival is the end of the story. But survival is just the beginning. What remains after you've been hollowed out by someone who seemed to need everything from you? What emerges from that emptiness isn't just a broken person. It's the possibility of something entirely new. So the question we need to face together is this: who do you become after walking through that darkness and coming out alive? Let's begin with what it truly means to be an empath, as understood by Carl Jung. You're not just someone who feels too much. You're someone the unconscious mind has chosen to carry what others can't face about themselves. This is what Jung called projection, when people push their unwanted feelings onto you. From childhood, you learned to read the room. You tuned into your parents' moods, felt the tension in the air, and became a mirror reflecting what others couldn't handle. Your sensitivity wasn't a weakness, it was survival. When the narcissist enters your life, it's no accident. Jung would say it's the inevitable pull of archetypes, psychological patterns, as old as humanity itself. The narcissist embodies what he called the shadow denied. They wear a mask that must consume others to maintain their godlike image. And you, by nature, become the one who holds what they refuse to admit about themselves. But here's what happens in that crucible. Absorbing their darkness isn't a small matter. It's like taking poison into your bloodstream, poison that was never yours. You feel the guilt that they projected onto you, shame that doesn't belong to you, rage planted in your chest like an alien seed. This absorption can feel like death. You lose yourself, drowning in confusion, questioning your sanity. You're caught in what feels like a hall of mirrors, where they insist reality is only what their mask says it isn't. But here's what Jung understood. In that breaking, something archetypal begins. It's the journey of the wounded healer, the shamanic descent into the underworld. Your ego gets dismembered, so your soul can wake up to its deeper purpose. When you survive this ordeal, you don't stay the same. The empath who survives isn't the same person who first entered that maze. There's been a death and a rebirth. You've carried someone else's shadow. You've wrestled with poison. And if you haven't been destroyed, then you've been transformed. The unconscious mind that demanded this trial has also prepared you for metamorphosis. Because what is survival, if not alchemy? The lead of suffering, the mercury of confusion, the sulfur of rage, all fused until something new emerges. Gold. So who do you become? You become someone who knows darkness not as an idea, but as a lived experience. You become someone who no longer fears the abyss because you've lived in it. Your compassion is no longer naive. Your light is no longer unguarded. Your soul carries the weight of someone who has walked among devils and returned with eyes that see through masks. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine dreaming you're at a great feast, tables full of food, golden cups overflowing with wine. But when you sit down to eat, the food turns to ash in your mouth. The wine becomes blood. You look around and realize everyone wears a mask, smiling, laughing. But behind those masks are hollow eyes and grinding teeth. Suddenly, you realize you're wearing a mask too. You rip it off and scream. But when you see your reflection in the cup, your face has become luminous, scarred, but radiant. This is what it means to survive their feast. To taste the ash of illusion, to remove the mask, and find that your real face, though scarred, shines with authenticity that can't be faked. This transformation comes with a cost. Don't let anyone tell you that escaping their grip leaves you unharmed. There are wounds. They ache. You might carry hypervigilance, distrust, their voice echoing in your mind. But those wounds are also inscriptions carved into your being. They tell you that you've been through initiation. You become a keeper of shadow wisdom. You're no longer just sensitive, you're wise. You know the scent of deception, the taste of false love. You can sense manipulation in the air like smoke, long before you see the fire. Why must it be this way? Why must empaths walk through narcissistic darkness to awaken? Because the unconscious demands balance. Narcissists can't carry their own shadow, they project it outward. And it must find a container. You, prepared from childhood to carry what isn't yours, become that container. But the unconscious doesn't leave you there. It brings you to a breaking point where the poison can't be endured anymore. When everything collapses, when your identity shatters, your psyche gets the chance to reorganize at a deeper level. This is what Jung called individuation, becoming who you truly are, not who the world demands you be. It's dangerous. Many don't make it through intact. But those who do emerge with clarity and strength are unknown to those who've never wrestled with such darkness. There's danger in what comes next. After surviving, you might be tempted to harden your heart completely, to declare, "Never again will I feel, never again will I love, never again will I open." This is understandable, but if this becomes permanent, the alchemy is incomplete. Healing isn't becoming stone, it's becoming gold. True survival means reopening, but this time, not as a lamb led to slaughter, but as a lion who knows its own strength. You'll still feel deeply, but you won't be devoured by those feelings. You'll still love, but you won't confuse love with sacrifice. You'll still shine, but your light won't be for those who come only to drain it. This is the paradox of the surviving empath. Your heart grows larger but also sharper. You're both tender and fierce. You become the wounded healer, not seeking out narcissists to save them, but healing simply by being authentic. You embody a light that's no longer naive. You become a mirror where others see their own possibilities. The narcissist, paradoxically, has served your individuation. Their darkness forced you into depths where you discovered your true strength. It's a brutal gift, but a gift nonetheless. If you've absorbed their darkness and survived, you're no longer just an empath. You're something beyond. You've died and been reborn. You've carried another's shadow and returned from the abyss. You've seen behind the mask and refused to become one yourself. You're not defined by what was done to you. You're defined by what you've become through it. And what you've become is nothing less than a soul awakened to its own power. Integration is crucial. It's not enough to escape. You must carry out the treasure hidden in those depths. This requires facing not just their shadow, but your own. What in you allowed them to enter, to feed, to remain? Was it love? Fear of abandonment? The secret hunger to feel needed, to be the savior? These must be acknowledged, not for shame, but for liberation. The empath's greatest danger isn't just the narcissist outside, but the unconscious narcissist within. The part that thrives on sacrifice because it grants importance. When this is seen and admitted, transformation completes. You're no longer an unconscious participant in the drama, but a conscious actor who chooses differently. Like Persephone, who ate pomegranate seeds in the underworld and could never return unchanged. You belong partly to darkness, partly to light. You can never return to innocence. But this isn't loss, it's sacred initiation. You become a mediator between worlds. You can descend into another's darkness without losing yourself. You can ascend into light with greater depth. You're no longer naive about evil, but neither consumed by it. When echoes of their voice whisper, "You're worthless," you answer, "I survived. I'm more than you ever saw." When the echo says, "You'll never be loved," you respond, "I've learned to love myself. I no longer hunger for counterfeit affection." This inner dialogue continues your individuation. You're reclaiming your soul's territory, piece by piece, until the landscape belongs to you, not their ghost. Your destiny isn't just living free of narcissists. That's too small. Your destiny is becoming a bearer of light forged in darkness, to embody compassion that doesn't confuse itself with martyrdom, to remind others that suffering, when faced, becomes transformation. You're a symbol among symbols. Others still trapped will recognize something in you, your presence as both comfort and challenge. Comfort because you understand without judgment. Challenge because you're being exposed to illusions. Having absorbed darkness, you now radiate light that's different from before. Not the innocent light of the unscarred, but the tempered light of one who knows shadow. Your light is sharper now, more defined, illuminating illusions without being extinguished by them. You've developed what could be called a sixth sense for deception. You perceive shadows moving in others, masks shifting, projections falling. This isn't paranoia. It's perception earned through surviving among masks. But remember, the narcissist isn't only external. It's also an inner archetype. Each of us carries the temptation to inflate, deny our shadow, feed on others for ego's hunger. True freedom comes from mastering these inner forces. Individuation means reconciling opposites. You're no longer only the sensitive child who absorbs, nor only the hardened survivor who resists. You're the integrated being who holds both. Strong and gentle, discerning and compassionate, fierce and tender. You become yourself at last. Not the self defined by others, not the self sacrificed to illusions, but the self that's always waited in the depths. The one who can say with truth and power, I am. This I am isn't arrogance, it's authenticity. The soul's voice emerging from silence, declaring existence without apology. The culmination of individuation. Listen closely now. You might hear that voice within you. It doesn't flatter or manipulate. It whispers, you are whole. You always were. Even when broken, even carrying another's shadow, even when you thought you wouldn't survive, you are whole. And now you know it. This knowing is your journey's gift. To know wholeness is living not in fear, but in trust. Trust in yourself, of your psyche, of the mystery sustaining us all. You're no longer an empath, victim, or even survivor. You're a soul awakened to its own depth. A being carrying both darkness and light, walking with the authority of one who has endured. You are the answer to the question you once feared to ask. You are the one who has become. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe, not just for more content, but to join a growing space where truth, healing, and self-discovery matter. This is Psyche Thera, and your journey is just beginning.